Hi everyone, welcome back to Phoenix Awaken podcast. I'm your host Jayson.
I'm Allison. Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
Jayson loves to sing.
I do, I love to sing. So today's topic is inspiration.
Inspiration. I guess for me, inspiration, it's almost like it's a simple word, but also a really complex word for me because I understand inspiration, but if you had to ask me what inspiration is, I don't know if I could actually explain it to you, except like you said, in the simple terms of whatever floats your boat or whatever makes your heart sing, things along those lines.
So for me, inspiration or feeling inspired is I get like a rush of energy and I get pumped up. It's like really excited. It's like, can't wait to do that. It's like when we're doing the podcast, for example, I can feel the energy shift. I can feel everything a lot more exciting. The energy is a bit higher. And it's like when I do my artwork and I get all set up and I have all my paints and I've got, especially if I have ideas that I want to do, like a series, I'm like, oh yeah. And then I can feel sometimes energy coming in. My heart starts to sing more. I feel more in alignment with all that there is. So that's a really good way to explain inspiration. I mean, everybody's a little bit different, but to feel that energy, it's like when you go to work, unless you love what you do,
You feel like you're dragging your feet.
you're dragging your feet and you're like, you are kicking and screaming a little. Yeah, that's for me. Finding things that inspire you and inspires your heart and you're just all in and you just can't wait to do it. Sometimes with some things you can't stop thinking about it and you're just really pumped, really inspired by whatever it is that you want to do. People might get really inspired by going for a run or a walk or inspired to read a book or starting a new project. Like at the moment you're inspired to do artwork and you're working on finishing off your mandala. And how do you feel when you're doing that?
That's actually a very good point. I feel like I'm more in the zone. So inspiration might be something that inspires you, that you literally, the outer world doesn't exist. You're just so in the zone and so focused that you really don't take notice of time.
Time's a really good one as well.
Yeah, because I know you did a healing last week sometime. So I had a free night because I finished all the editing and everything that we needed to do. So I thought, okay, I'm going to work on my dot mandala. I didn't even realize what the time was until I thought, all of a sudden I realized you had been taking so long. So I went inside and checked the time and I swear it was 2 hours later, but it didn't feel like that.
Yeah, when I do healings, usually it's an hour, but this one took 2 hours. There was a lot going on. But even then, I didn't realize it was 2 hours.
No.
And I'm in that inspirational healing energy as well.
So I guess inspiration is something that, like you said, makes your heart sing, something that lifts your spirit. Because I guess inspire, lifts the spirit. And it's also something like this morning when I woke up, I can tell the difference where there's a stream, or now I'm starting to understand what's a stream and what could be inspiration. And the inspiration with the head is different to the inspiration with the heart, I've discovered.
Yes.
The inspiration with the head sometimes can be, like you said, it's like an obsession almost. It can turn into an obsession. But this morning when I woke up, I felt this real subtle inspiration to edit on the podcast or do an editing to start the new editing on one of the podcast episodes. So I'm understanding what is the difference between mental inspiration, which isn't such a bad thing, like especially if you're an artist or a builder or an engineer, like you have the visual aspect of it. But the inspiration that I got was like such a subtle inspiration that it was very different to seeing a visual happen.
I was just getting, like yesterday, so we're in Australia, Melbourne, Victoria, we are going to be having a public holiday. And I'm like, and Allison's going to a baby shower.
I went to a baby shower yesterday, yes.
And all week I've been very inspired and very excited about cleaning my car.
Yeah, exactly.
and hasn't been cleaned for like 5 or 6 months. And my car, I feel, has a personality. It's a little bit, this is going to sound weird, but it's like it's alive. Talks to me a little bit, telling me that's a bit dirty and it needs to be looked after. So I was really excited, really inspired to clean it. Yes, I did spend pretty much a whole day on it, but it was pretty filth. So that was another level of inspiration. And also inspirational, being inspired. Also, with example, cleaning the car, I knew the outcome was going to be magnificent.
So I guess inspiration is something that you feel inspired to do, that the outcome or the end result is just, it's going to be amazing.
Sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't know, and sometimes you don't care. You just feel inspired just to do it for the awesomeness of it. I've just now got awesome sauce.
We love some awesome sauce here.
Yeah. And even when we were doing AJ's kitchen, AJ Living, the videos we were doing in there, check it out, everyone, if you haven't watched AJ Living, because that's all about food and a little bit of camping and travelling and drone footage, and Allison doing her magnificent wisdom vlogs. That's awesome. And that was always inspirational. We felt inspired and creative. And then we have the Infinite Magic, Jayson Infinite Magic YouTube, and that's really good to jump in that. We get inspired to do that. I know when I'm ready to do another healing demo, for example, I feel inspired to do it. And I'm feeling that when you have that inspiration energy and you're feeling that real like turbo boost, that's when things work out even better. So it'd be interesting to see if you're listening and watching this, what inspires you?
What do you get inspired by?
Yeah.
I feel sometimes I actually block my inspiration.
Okay.
Yeah. I do feel that sometimes I actually block my inspiration because of a lot of things that I guess have happened to me in the past, like going from flower to flower, like we discussed.
That's a good one to talk about, actually.
Sometimes I don't, now that I understand it better, because I always knew that I wanted something that was just so solid and that stuck and was so not stuck, but that was grounded. I knew that I always wanted something, but I didn't know what it was. And so therefore I kept changing what I was doing, I guess, on the search for that inspiration, that one thing that I was inspired to do, but I couldn't understand what it was. And now that we're doing the podcast, I feel like that is that one thing. But sometimes I get inspired to do artwork or to do something else, and because I guess you could say, because I have the memory of going from flower to flower to flower, I stop my own inspiration of maybe doing a little bit of scribbling, or you get what I'm saying?
What's coming to mind with you is, and I feel like there's a lot of people out there, if you're inspired to say, I want to start to be an artist, and the goal is to be rich and famous artist, and I've just started, and I do these paintings, and I do what I have to do to put myself out there, and it doesn't work out, that inspiration goes. So you're not painting for the inspirational sake, you're painting for another agenda. And I feel like with yourself that you were doing flower to flower for something to be, so you can become successful in that thing. But what I've learned over watching you, because you've been a great teacher for me, if you need to stick to something.
And that was one of the things that I got this morning. I was watching someone talk, because I'm still interested in art stuff, because we are both creative. You do artwork. I love to.
You're an artist too. Yeah.
I'm very messy. I'm such a messy painter or artist, except when it comes to even to dot mandalas, I'm still a messy person. I was watching an artist on YouTube, and I just got this feeling of having the time to focus on her artwork and stuff like that, and then got a trigger of all the things that I tried to do, and then realizing that if I went from flower to flower to flower, I might not have actually stuck with anything and stuck it out. So you have been a really good teacher for me in the way of grounding something and actually sticking to it, because sometimes you are inspired to do something, and like you said, when the inspiration drops because things are not moving the way you want it to move, your inspiration can get lost, or it's not as high anymore. But if it's something that you want to keep doing, you have to find that inspiration to keep going, to keep motivating yourself, even if it's not showing you the fruit of what you want in the beginning. So again, it's like building something. You got to build something up. Like you always say, the bath water.
Yeah.
How long the bath water takes sometimes to fill, and then all of a sudden, next thing you look, the bath is almost overflowing.
Yes, it takes time.
Yeah, inspiration is like the honeymoon phase of a relationship.
Yeah, it's also, for car terms, turbo.
Yeah. For me, I'm getting the honeymoon phase of a relationship. You have this inspiration, this fire, this passion in the beginning of a relationship. And then all of a sudden people are like, but it's not the same as what it used to be. No, because you got to grow now. And I feel that inspiration sometimes does lag, and you have to keep going with it, because we've watched artists on YouTube and things along those lines where they've actually said they have a bad day.
Yeah. I'm also getting ebb and flow is a part of that as well.
Yeah.
So you got the flow, everything's flowing, everything's doing really well, and then it slows down or stops, or it's not the same as what it was before.
Yeah.
But there's always this cycle that happens with everything. So like, even if you're not flat out like in that amazing energy, you still do it. Like, I haven't done a painting now for I don't know how many months.
It's been quite a few. It could be almost a year, actually. Yeah.
And I don't care, because I know, because I've been painting, drawing since I was a little kid. That was my mental health, because I had an interesting childhood, and it was a way for me to express and just put it on paper and all that sort of jazz. So it's sort of the artist things in me. It's always with me, so I don't have to. I don't stress about it. But when I do get the inspiration to do a canvas, I'm just like, yep. And then I get, because I'm really blessed. I get a lot of what I call downloads or inspiration downloads to help me on my pathway. Like I did the Lemuria series and Uluru series, and a lot of the Uluru series I've been selling, and that was just through this inspiration. And that was all abstract. Nothing fancy at all. Really easy, but really magnificent and beautiful. But I needed that inspiration, or to be inspired to keep going for that time frame. So I did that for like 4 years. So it's not always going to be the honeymoon period, like what you're saying.
And I guess maybe the topic, I'm just getting the topic with inspiration is inspiration, like inspiration is amazing, like a honeymoon phase, but for people out there that feel like their inspiration is lagging, just keep going.
Yeah, and that's what we've been working out, because we're hoping we're going to, with the podcast, it was going to be a little bit more quicker than not.
Yeah.
But we've said this before, there's a process to everything.
Yeah.
But because we love talking, that keeps us inspired.
Yeah.
And I said to you this morning, I feel like I'm now going back to class.
That's true.
Every week, because I did weekly classes for 8 years and then 13 years as a student, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I feel like I'm back here again, but we're tapping into all the magnificence of what's around us and be able to talk about what comes up. Because again, today, we didn't have a topic.
No, that's exactly it. And I'm just getting, when it comes to, because for me, inspiration, like I feel like sometimes my inspiration is like a lot on many different things. And I just want to express with people that sometimes you may feel like you're stuck in a rut with something.
Yeah.
And maybe opening your mind to do something else might just give you that freedom, that space to go back to what you were working on before.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because for me, I need kind of multiple things to just give me that mental freedom, that creative space. So for example, I will podcast edit, I'll do the video editing, and sometimes it's a bit tiring on the mind.
Yeah, you're editing for the visual YouTube, is hardcore.
It can be quite tiring, especially when you're looking at a screen for a long time. So I actually do the artwork as a creative space to step away from it. And then once I've spent, it could be as little as 5 minutes, but I just need to step away and do something different. That gives me the inspiration, and I'll get the nudge as well to go, okay, it's time to go back. And I'll be like, yeah, cool. I've stepped away. I've done what I wanted to do. I, had my time to myself. I feel inspired again to get back into it.
Yeah, that's good. So
Yeah.
have a break here and there, balance it out much as you can.
Yeah, with something that you enjoy doing. Even if it's something along the lines of, because I've been actually interested in watching people do art journals, like little art journals. Even if it's something as small and you like doodling or something along those lines, take a break, have a smoko kind of thing, just so that you can step back into the inspiration.
I just want to say to everyone, if you're not Australian, smokos mean have a break.
That's right.
Because I said to one of the Filipino girl that's working with us, I said, time for a smoko, is it? She goes, I'm sorry, a what? A smoko. And she goes, I don't quite understand what you're saying. And I said, a break. You're going to have a lunch break. Oh, yes. So anybody overseas, a smoko means having a break.
Yeah, the Aussie language is a funny language. Yeah. When it comes to something along those lines, sometimes it's a good idea to have something that can just give you a break from what you're doing, because you might feel a bit tired of doing the same thing for hours and hours. Like, it just could just be eye strain, and then just step away, have a break, and then come back and you'll feel more inspired to keep going.
More refreshed.
Yeah.
And you'd hit the nail on the head when you said about going flower to flower, because also, let's go down the rabbit hole just for a little moment, just a little bit down the rabbit hole, not too far down. There will be energies out there that want to keep you inspired to jump flower to flower, so it keeps you from what you're meant to be doing. Say if you're meant to be doing something which is going to be big for the future, it could be doing a podcast or a YouTube or art, or it doesn't matter what it is.
Building a building or something.
You're building an ark for Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
And they keep on, the energies keep on changing you, inspiring you, because that does happen, everyone. Sometimes the inspiration you're getting can be a false inspiration, and you've had a lot of that.
And that's what I was talking about, going from flower to flower. Because Jayson, the great example I can give people, it's like, here I am, one bean, and then all of a sudden I've just split up into these colours of the rainbow, going from this purple flower to this indigo flower to this flower to this colour flower to orange and red and so on, and not really bringing myself back together to go, okay, this is the one stream.
I've got a really awesome example. When we're living in Roeville, you came home and you said, baby, I'm going to be a eyelash technician.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, okay, cool. So you're going to need to study. You're going to need to spend all this money. It's going to take you, say, 12 months or whatever it is to study and be. Then you're going to have to get clients. And I said, okay, I'll support you, but there's something not right.
And there was something not right, because I remember Jayson going, look, I don't know if this is such a good idea. I broke down into tears.
Yep.
Because I actually literally could see everything play out in front of me. And when we see, for Jayson and myself, sometimes when we see things play out in front of us, it means that it's probably part of our script, or it could actually be another being, entity, or spirit, or something along those lines that could be in your field.
Wanting you to fulfill their goals, their
agenda.
script, their agenda.
Yeah, exactly.
So keep going with the story, because it's a good one.
And so I remember we were sitting down. Jayson was making my dinner, and I had an egg. And I was just in such an emotional and mental mess. I was just blubbering. And Jayson heated up my egg. And as I went to go put the spoon or the fork in the air, it exploded in my face. I know this is, you might be thinking, what's this got to do with the story? But it's
Because
actually,
I'm thinking the same. I don't remember.
it's actually
it
part
being
of
the same part of the puzzle.
It's actually part of the story because it was that same night where I think we'd realized that there was actually another entity in my energy field or redirecting me to fulfill their agenda instead of me fulfilling my own agenda. Because the reason why I actually now realize why I'm bringing this up is because I didn't know who I was back then. And because I didn't know who I was and didn't know what I wanted to do and felt very, I felt I didn't have the inspiration and I felt very like I was drowning in a way. It kind of allowed something else to come in.
It was a female spirit
It was
that passed over.
Yeah, allowed something else to come in and kind of go, well, this is what you like, lashes. I like lashes.
And she was what we understood a lash
technician or something.
Yeah. Wanting to fulfill her dreams still here in the physical arena through you.
Yeah. And I guess picked up in my energy feel like I like lashes, you like lashes. Hey, let's do this together. But now I realize because I didn't know who I was and I didn't know what I wanted to do at that time, and because my energy was probably very scattered and wasn't very solid in what I enjoyed, that it just allowed someone else to come through and go, you know what, here we go, let's do this, let's play this out. And if we did do that, we don't know where we could have ended up. But yes, I did have a female spirit in my energy who was an eyelash technician that literally showed me, you can have all this.
And I said, do you really want to be working on people's eyelashes for the rest of your life?
Although it is a very lucrative business.
That's great, but
very lucrative business, and no disrespect to eyelash technicians.
No, I'm not talking about that. But day in, day out.
Yeah, looking at it now, probably not something that I would actually...
Because possibly we wouldn't be here.
But that's the thing. We might not have actually been here. We don't know. And that's the one thing that I'm actually very grateful for Jayson, is that he is very grounded and always called bullshit when something didn't feel right. Even if because I was so inspired. Even if I was inspired and I saw the sun, the stars, the universe, he always brought me back down and go, okay, let's just talk about this, and would make me realize the reality of everything. Yes, there might be some tears because all of a sudden my inspiration has been brought back down, but it was the reality that I needed. And that's why you've always been great to make me realize that. And we might not be here because, like Jayson said, what got him through as a child was artwork. Yeah. So that's why you'll always be the artist and the painter and everything and the creator. What actually got me through everything was watching movies and TV. So everything on the screen. And this is all part of doing things on the screen.
Yeah. In a way, you're living your inner child's dream.
Yeah.
You're doing audio through podcast, YouTube stations, so you've got a mixture of communication and visual. So you're pretty much, in a way, living the dream.
And I didn't have a lot of communication, which is really interesting because as I was processing this as a child, I never thought of growing up to be a podcaster, because as a child, you're like, you don't even know what a podcaster is.
Back then, it was just a radio.
It was really just a radio. However, I'm on TV. I'm on a screen doing this. And that is what movies always got me through everything. Everything. Just like art got you through everything.
Yeah. And so I guess what we're trying to say is just be mindful and balanced with your inspiration and where it can take you. Because it's great. Hang on, it's great in the moment. All this stuff is it is. It's really awesome.
No, I was just laughing at how you telling me. Hang on.
It's really awesome in the moment, but you also got to. And people say, look, be in the moment, live in the moment. I believe 100% in that. But at the same time, there's still got to be a big picture attached to it as well.
Yeah, you got to be practical and understand, and maybe see if you can see the big picture of it.
Can you see yourself being a nail technician for the next 30 years?
But I think that's where the difference is, because I was shown that and I was shown the whole layout of this is what can happen. But at the same time, like you said, was that going to be more beneficial for my future in the long run if I went down that path? And that's why I'm getting, when we first opened up and I said, we spoke about the word inspiration. That's why I said inspiration is such a simple word, but it can be a very complex word as well.
I didn't think it was going to go this way, but very good topic, because a lot of people...
I didn't think it was going to go this way either.
Yeah, no. A lot of people want to be in that level of awesome inspiration all the time.
Which is the honeymoon phase. I reckon you've hit something as well that everyone wants to be, and that includes me and, you know, you as well. We all want to be in that high vibration of inspiration all the time. And we want to be able to hold that. And when we don't, I think sometimes we do feel like we might be failures and what's wrong with us and why do I not have this inspiration. But like you said, there's always this ebb and flow. And I'll go back to the artist that I was watching on YouTube. This particular artist had a moment where things just, sometimes life just happens, and that inspiration might not be as high as what you want it to be, but it doesn't mean to not continue if you know that this is, if you know deep within you that this is the path for you.
Yeah. Saying
that, also know who you are so that you don't be put off track as well. And I feel like that is like it's not a black and white area.
Work out if you can, if it's a stream, inspirational stream, to lead you down a path of something that's not going to be beneficial for, you know, the present moment. Will be beneficial for the present moment, but is it leading down the path that's not going to be a great outcome as well? And it's playing out for something else's agenda. It's not really there for you. And I know we've taken the word inspirational energy to another level, but I feel like it's come up to be discussed. So to be, yeah, as you said, a little bit more practical, ground it with it as much as you can. Don't get too your head up in the clouds with it, because it might be there to take you off course. So that's really important.
I do feel that with majority of the population, because not everyone is aware of the games that can play out, you know, and who is who and what is what kind of thing, sometimes people might not realize that the inspiration that they're getting is from something else, and they might think it's from them.
I feel that our audience are people who have a big understanding of who they are.
But I'm talking about the audience that are not fully aware.
I don't think that the 100% mainstream people out there are going to listen to what we have to say.
You just never know.
No, because it's a different frequency.
That's a good point.
You'd have to be, because you talk about frequency matches, yeah?
Yeah.
So people who are open and done some work on themselves have an understanding of the broader picture and all the stuff behind the scenes going on. They'll be drawn more to what we have to say than your next door neighbour.
That's a good point. No, that's a very good point.
Which is, so we can be free as much as we can on levels just to express what we feel's, you know, what our experiences are and stuff like that.
Yeah, you do have a good point. I was actually I had the image of like broader spectrum. Yeah, interesting topic. Inspiration. I was not expecting it to go down this path.
You want to see if I can come up, if anybody positively with a big heart.
How about you set the intention of connecting with yourself and then seeing what comes through, and only true benevolence, no one with conflicting agendas.
I'm getting my head. Yep, somebody here. Inspiration is an excellent topic for today. Well done to you both. The best inspiration is inspiration from your hearts. The heart loves to be inspired and it is here to experience inspiration in your earthly experience. To be inspired is even to go down to the beach and watch the waves, sit on the sand, enjoy the sun, can be a magical, inspiring moment. Even to go for a drive down
the road,
even going for a drive to somewhere that inspires you of beauty is a beneficial inspiration to be in that frequency. Inspiration is a high frequency of being, and more of you will be stepping more into that inspirational state as shifts and changes are moving through this planet, and you as a humanity more and more of you will feel more inspired to do what inspires you more and more. Basic 3D arena frequency is shifting to a higher frequency of more inspiration and more open-heartedness, if of course you are all ready for this. So be open to more of an inspired heart within you all, and you will start to see more flow, more magic open up to you. And this is very important for the next phase. For the next phase for humanity to step into the higher vibrational frequencies in the next coming years. So use the energy, the feelings of being inspired. Yes, everything you've said is correct, and be mindful and balanced and practical and grounded with your inspirations, but also keep tapping into the magic of inspiration. It is a springboard to leap you forward. Okay, that's all I've got for the moment. How was that?
Yeah, that was really good.
Okay.
Yeah, that was really good.
Anything you want to add?
Oh, it was just a question actually, because the person that was talking was saying inspiration is amazing, but I am interested in their perception or her perception on the entities that come through that play a different agenda for the human who might, like, distraction kind of thing. Yeah.
So yes, Allison, you were right about going from flower to flower and being inspired to do that. And yes, you're also right within your conversations together that you will be taken off track to fulfill another one's agenda. This is when you do need to know yourself, know what is real and what is not real, what is practical and what is not practical, and also what is an illusion and what isn't an illusion. And you have to tap into your inner knowing, your intuition, your feeling, not always rely on your mind. This is very true. And the more you trust within your intuition, your feeling, your heart, and step away from the mind energy, the more you can trust that inspiration is true. Does that help?
Yeah, that helps a lot, actually. Yeah. What we're pretty much saying to everyone is that yes, you get inspiration in the mind, but the heart inspiration is the one to take notice of, pretty much.
It's like a core knowing. We've talked about this before, having a knowing.
Yeah, but
within.
Sometimes a core knowing isn't as strong as the thunderbolt lightning you get in the head kind of thing.
Yeah.
The core knowing, like I said this morning, when I felt the inspiration of editing, was from the heart space. It was like this real subtle, soft, but when I realized what it was, it gave me such a big smile, because sometimes the inspiration isn't a lightning bolt to the head, isn't this big bang. It can be very subtle, and maybe sometimes it's the subtle ones that you need to try and take notice of the most. That's what I was getting from that.
Okay.
Like the heart ones, the subtle heart space is probably the one that you need to take notice the most, because that's where your inspiration and your intuition come from.
Yeah. So anybody listening out there, as I'm doing a bit of channeling, I'm a bit rusty. As you can all see. But I'll get better and better at it again. It's just going to take me a little bit of time. So just take what we say, as we always say, with a grain of salt.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it resonates with you, great.
Yeah, and the information that we bring out is just our own perception. Everything that we say here is just really our own perception as well. So like Jayson said, if it resonates, great. If it doesn't, if there's a gold nugget and the rest you're like unsure about, then that's also great too.
And I'm just also getting, everybody's talking about all these major shifts in March. We're now in March. What are we now, March 11?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
12 or something.
There's going to be a big hoo-ha playing out in end of March, and I'm feeling what I'm getting now is that being inspired and keeping in that high frequency stuff will take you out of, if there's going to be massive dramas playing out, like they're predicting earthquakes and all this white light gold energy coming from galactic beings and stuff like that. No judgment, just that's what people are saying. And what I'm getting from that, all that stuff is, and what we're talking about today of inspiration, is just if we can keep in that higher energy, do things that inspire us, and that will keep us out of the drama, if dramas do happen to play out this month. So that's what I'm getting from that. That's why the topic that you got given, inspiration, is this there to help. It's another frequency to help us to
shift.
Not just shift, but keep us in a really good energy place
Yeah.
and not bring us down. Therefore, if you're brought down to a lower frequency, you're more susceptible to being part of the drama,
Yeah.
not being the onlooker or beyond it per se.
Yeah.
That's really good to know.
Yeah, you're right. It keeps you at a level of harmony
Yeah.
in a way. I was going to say positivity. Yes, positivity, but for me, it's more. It keeps you in a level of harmony and more balance.
Yeah.
Instead of being on the seesaw ride, I'm getting, which is always constantly up and down.
The roller coaster.
The roller coaster ride, and yeah, inspiration keeps you in that level of harmony and balance and equilibrium.
Yeah.
As well.
Yep. So I now have a different understanding on a high frequency compared to a low frequency. A high frequency is more of a smooth flowing frequency, and a lower frequency, let's just use 3D for example, the 3D world. It's more of a square or jagged or ups or a roller coaster ride. There's no flow. It's all ups and downs. It's all drama and it's all like bipolar.
But sometimes a higher frequency can also have its ups and downs as well. Yes, it's smoother, but what if it doesn't, it's not always skyrocketing. What if it's just the ups and downs are ever so slight?
Well, that would depend on the frequency that you're in.
Okay.
Because I've said before, I believe that every dimension has octaves, and if you are in a 3D dimension and you're at a lower octave, then it's going to be not good. But if you're at a higher octave within 3D, it's going to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Which is what you're talking about with it's not as choppy.
Yeah, it's not as choppy. Yeah. So for example, I guess like especially with what we're doing, going from, let's say, using the job example, we are in our element. You're in your element when you're healing. We are in our element when we're being creative, podcasting, do the things that we're inspired. But then, and that's a lot of people as well, where you do things on the weekend, possibly the stuff that you love, that you're inspired to do, and then you need to go back down. You need not back down, but you go to work, and it just doesn't have that same feel.
No, because it doesn't inspire you unless it inspires you.
Unless it inspires you. I remember doing shamanic training and being in such an amazing energy because I am doing what I enjoy. I love the people that I'm around, and then I have to go back to work the very next day. And it's like being in two completely different worlds.
That's the separation of, say, the old Earth versus the new Earth.
Yeah, it's two completely different worlds.
And the idea is to keep yourself, if you can, at that higher inspired, inspirational frequency and hold yourself there and not drop back down. So it's like you need to building a bridge, but you were saying the other day you could just, and I've experienced it, you can just leap from one to the other, but it's how to stay there.
Because I did hear from someone say that he was talking about the different dimensions, and he did mention something along the lines, and I didn't think of it until he actually mentioned it, that instead of having to go from 3 to 4 to reach 5, you can go from 3 to 5 or 3 to 6 or 3 to 7, whatever they are, because at the moment we only really understand 5. You don't have to go to do 4, because if you go, let's say 5, 6, 7 is what you are inspired, what you love, what your passion, what your heart is, then you kind of really bypassing 4, really. Because you've just gone from 3 to 5. I love crocheting. It brings me so much joy.
So therefore you're in a higher frequency.
Exactly. I love architecture. That brings me so much joy. You just literally jumped into
that higher vibrational frequency.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting to understand more and more. That's what it's about, and you can jump. And all it is, in a way, is feeling.
Yeah, it really just
is. It's a state of feeling.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And then as you were saying, the key is to try and remain in that I guess, like you said, in that feeling state, even though everything is going on around you. And as soon as you said that, I got Buddha in my head with the non-attachment.
And that's how you can
And
hold
as soon
yourself.
as I said that, there was a light speck right up there.
Ah, clever.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then now I'm getting the imagery of all the Buddhist monks when they do their amazing artwork. And I'm getting really emotional now. When they do their mandala and the intricate pattern and designs that takes them, it's I think either 7 days or 14 days. I'm not entirely too sure. I don't know how long. I watched it many, many years ago. I was at the end tail of watching 4 Buddhist monks complete their mandala at a shopping centre where I used to live. And once they were finished, in one moment, they just brushed it all away.
Done.
All that work for 7 days sitting there, and they had the non-attachment to just let it all go. So as you were saying that, with the inspiration to stay up in that inspirational state, to stay in that vibration of feeling, even if something does occur family-wise, friend-wise, job-wise, society-wise, that could bring you down, you got to try and keep yourself in that state of feeling, in that inspiration with non-attachment.
So non-attachment is another key.
What I'm feeling is, in order to avoid that real up and down, jagged ebb and flow, bipolar, maybe non-attachment is the way to go with everything.
Yeah, and that's a work in progress.
It is a
because
work
we
in-
are so used to being attached.
Yeah, to everything, to absolutely everything. And I feel what I'm getting at the moment is, when we build things up, sometimes we don't want to let it go because we're scared that it might not come back.
Yes, that's very true.
So inspiration, again, like I said, is very simple, but now we're discovering it can be actually quite complex.
Because us humans can make things very complicated.
That's true.
Yeah. And I'm very good at doing that, and so are you.
Anything else that you want to share?
Let's try to leave I try to leave something at the end.
Yeah.
I guess the easy way of keeping yourself inspired is just doing things that bring you a lot of joy, and your heart sings, and you just really love doing it.
Yeah.
And then you work on keeping yourself at that vibration as much as you can. It's like weight training, really, building that muscle, and not buying into the drama of everything, and trying to keep yourself separate as much as you can from all the drama stuff playing out. Unless you like it in your own big drama, then you got to find practical ways to sort of navigate through that.
Yeah.
Therefore, find things that inspire you if you can, and that will be beneficial and positive for you.
I was just getting, when you said do what your heart sings, I was just getting, even if it's just singing.
Oh yeah, sing.
Even if it's just singing or dancing or...
Yeah, sing and dance like nobody's watching.
Yeah, pretty much. I learned a lot from watching the Buddhist monks about non-attachment, and I feel like that's something that we can all take away with us, to, as best as we can, to be non-attached to the outcome, like we have discussed before. However, keep in that inspiration.
Yeah, love it. What a interesting topic.
What an inspiring topic to talk about.
Yeah, not bad from sitting and just like, okay, what are we doing?
Ready to close up?
Yeah, let's go and have a cup of tea.
Okay, sounds good to me. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you really enjoyed our conversation on inspiration. I know I did, because I had no idea what was about to come out.
And thank you for my friend who came in to give us...
Yes, thank you to the female lady or female energy.
That came in just to give us a little information,
Yeah, advice.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone who has tuned in and listened to us. And we hope that you stay inspired to continue on with whatever you're doing. And until next time. Also, subscribe if you love what we're doing, and give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, share it with your friends and family. People need to be inspired. Maybe share this podcast with them.
Yeah. Until next time, everyone.
You'll see us, you'll hear us in the next one. See you next week, everyone.
Bye.